Hello, welcome to the Making It podcast. We are here for episode 71. If you're seeing us on YouTube, you can see us waving at you. If you can't, we are waving at you, I promise. We're not evil and nasty. Me and Dan are off a pretty big night out actually last night. We've been reunited, can you believe it? After all this time, I think 11 and a half months it would be since we've last seen each other. We had a nice walk around Monsall Head and a coffee, some sausage rolls as well. Dan, it feels good to be back, brother, and it feels good to be back with you, mate, because that yesterday was awesome. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, good man. I'm excited to be able to do an in-person podcast again, but I think yesterday was just a good time for us to actually just spend time with each other after not seeing each other for such a long time. Obviously, we had the celebrations for Neil's 70th as well, which was amazing at the pub, and Big Kev was there, loving the atmosphere. Went for one, had three. But
Yeah.
it was really good to see you again, mate, and we both had a moment just like when we first did a real life podcast on the Onion episode where we were both a bit freaked out by the fact we were with each other because it was like, how is this actually happening? It's been so long where we've just seen each other like this through a screen. But it was really special, man. And, it's special that we have a friendship like that where it means so much to see each other again. And we had some really good chats. We were both getting creative, both inspiring each other, both talking about what we want to do in the future and just talking about how life's been. And it was a really good moment. And I think, bless shout out to Kim,
Mm.
who was there, whose cafe was shut, but still let us have like Jamie said, a free sausage roll and let us sit just where we sat the last time we saw each other. And it was just a circular moment. Also bumped into Scarlett's mum because Noah, her son, was doing DV, but it was just a lovely moment. And a little jackdaw came and, or what we thought was a crow, came and joined us for most of our coffee as well. So it was a special moment, bro. It was great to be back. But isn't it funny how quick you adjust? It was almost like we had seen each other for the past 11 months, but we hadn't when we were at the Vic. So it was special, man. I hope you enjoyed it. But how did you find that moment? Because I know we've been speaking about it for such a long time. That Monsell Head coffee. How was that experience for you?
When I saw you pulling into the car park, I was like, no way, bro's here. And it's very rare that someone out energizes me, I think. But Dan, I think you did that pretty well. You were, I don't even know what you were doing, to be completely honest, but you were just going mental in the car. And as Dan's going mental, I'm kind of just there, like processing it and being like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good to be back. It's just nice to be back with all my friends. Obviously you, Dan, like really, really close friends. And to not only be around them, but to actually be doing things, going out and on a day like that. Going and having drinks after work with all my work friends for, a pretty special family event. All these little things, they're pretty big things when you've been away for as long as I have. So it's just a real privilege to be able to spend so much time with good people that I love after such a long time. So I would say I feel really good, but I am also really horrendously hungover. So I feel pretty horrendous actually, in all honesty. But it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I feel like I've been saying that I've recovered from the trip and that I'm settled in now, but I think in reality that's just not true just yet. I still feel a little bit spaced out. I still feel crazy overwhelmed about being home. I don't think I've felt the feeling of overwhelming like this ever. Like not as much as this. This is crazy. The amount of things that I'm doing, the people that I'm seeing, the change that I've also witnessed in terms of my daily routine and just how I go about my day is pretty crazy. So it's like trying to adjust to that again it's hard, bro. It is a bit hard. And I think going to football on Thursday was amazing because it brought me back into that routine just a little bit. But at the same time, I was so tired. And it made me step back a second and just go, maybe you need to relax a little bit more.
Yeah, man. I think it's good to process that and accept that as well instead of like being in denial about it because like we spoke about, it's not like you've just been on holiday to Australia. You've been there for a whole year. So to suddenly be back and trying to get used to things so quickly, like it's not going to be that easy. Um, but I went to watch Michael Jackson twice, his film twice this week. One with Scarlett, one with my brother, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed both times going to watch it, but I felt quite inspired watching it because he's what if not the biggest, one of the biggest artists like ever, and seeing how his life kind of went about up until a certain point where the film cut off, and just seeing how his creative side and how he let his ideas flow and how he made sure he was himself in life and how he really wanted to put out there a good impact for people who listen to his music. And I really enjoyed it. And it reminded me of these moments of inspiration that you get. I remember specifically New Year's when we were doing our episodes and when I was in Dublin, I felt very inspired about the new year. I find it quite funny how those sort of inspiration moments can we can lose sense of that. And obviously that's where consistency kind of helps us throughout. But that Michael Jackson film gave me that inspiration again to be myself, to be creative, to keep doing things that I want to do, putting my ideas out there. And when we have moments like we had our Monster Head coffee, we were both saying we both feel like we inspire each other, and those moments are special. I guess I wanted to bring up those moments and like, are you inspired right now for what's to come up over summer, for what's the future holds, for things you want to do with yourself? I know you spoke a lot about on the last episode about this, about the next 5 years and something big you want to do. But would you say you're feeling pretty inspired right now?
Yeah, again, like in this very moment, bro. No, because I feel like rubbish. I don't know. I can only mention it one more time. But in terms of the general scope of the week, yeah, absolutely, bro. Yesterday I think sat down talking to you, bro. We're already thinking of ideas and things we could do in the future. But like you say, it's important to not run, sorry, before you can walk. So very important we watch how much we're doing. I've actually made myself a daily routine chart and a weekly routine chart just to try and guide me a little bit. It's kind of like my daily principles of what I want from the day. They're very basic. It's very easy things to follow. Now, it's not easy because I need it to be easy and I can't do difficult things in the day. It's more because just doing the little simple things, I think, makes a big difference. And I've been out of a routine for so long that I've fell into some bad habits as well. So I feel like I've drank a little bit more than I should have. I've had a lot of fun. I've not exercised as much, and it's like, okay, right. So there needs to be a balance found here. Have your fun at the weekends or on your occasions throughout the week. You got to be on it. There's things that I'm aspiring to do, Dan. I look at my long-term goals of being consistent in the gym, being able to drive, and doing my coaching badges, all these things. Like I look at them and I go, okay, right, there's only one way I can achieve this, and that is by having those small incremental changes and consistencies in my daily routine in order to achieve my long-term goals. So on the question of inspiration, bro, I feel absolutely inspired because I'm back in my creative environment. I'm back in an environment that challenges me in different ways than Australia. There isn't a significant threat to my living state. There isn't a worry that I'm going to not be able to live somewhere within a few days' time if I don't pay rent and all these things. So it does give me a little bit of a foundation to just create and just try something different, try new things, and to keep working on things.
Do you feel like, obviously we spoke about this when we saw each other, but obviously we've spoke about to-do lists before and how I know there was definitely a moment in Australia where you were saying you didn't want to do the to-do list, you wanted to just kind of get the things done. How do you find actually you made this routine chart? How do you find that helps you actually getting it down on paper to look
Well,
at?
I've slipped back into to-do list, right? I've started it again. I've got a long-term goals list. I've got a long-term projects list, and then I've got my weekly stuff. There's just a list of things in there in my phone that I can do throughout the day, and it's nothing crazy. It's like little reminders, really. To be honest, it's not like big things. My blog, remind me to do my routine stuff. Like it's just small little things that I need to just check up on and reminding me to do things throughout the day. So I would say that now I'm at home, I want to be a little bit more organized, not because I want my life to be completely controlled by what's on a list on my phone. It's more just because I do want to achieve stuff and I want to be better at things and I want to enjoy things more. My football's a really big one for me. I think that when I played football on Thursday, I just realized how much I needed that again, bro. Like not just to wind deck up and see the the grim look on his face when I smash a belter past him. But in all seriousness, it was more like it makes me feel good having a hobby, having a passion, like being with a good group of people once a week, twice a week. That's what I needed, So it's about coming home, setting myself up for the next year, and bro, enjoying it. Like it's home. I've got to enjoy home for what it is, because at the end of the day, bro, I know for sure that I will go and travel again. So I want to enjoy whatever time I've got at home with my family and friends as much as I possibly can.
Awesome, man. And yeah, go and do that, bro, for sure. Because you've not seen him for so long, and you've got that transition point now because you've come back to the UK, and like you just need to embrace those people, embrace those moments, take it easy, take it slow, not rush into everything all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
Because that time will soon pass where you are just in the UK now, and that feeling of being back, you're no longer back. You're actually here. If you know where I'm coming from, you've got that feeling of
Yeah.
returning. You've returned by then. But I just picked up this. If you're watching on YouTube, Scarlett, my girlfriend, got me this, and every week it's got like a to-do list in that I want to do across the week. But I've been doing that since I was 15. And I think to-do lists can be a problem because you feel like that's you being productive, writing down a to-do list, and you're not actually doing it, but you're just writing it down. But with that, for me, it helps getting it down because then I don't feel overwhelmed. I've got tasks which I'm aware I need to do, and it gives me a basic structure. But it's not like a Bible; it's just something that kind of guides me throughout the week. You get that good feeling when you tick it off as well, and it keeps a few good habits in there. But I finished uni last week. My dad and brother were taking the mick saying I'm not finished yet because I'm doing a master's, but I finished my undergraduate, which felt really surreal. It was crazy. We had my last exam, and then we all went for a pint afterwards, a few pints, and it was a very special time. And it's like, wow, I didn't know what that feeling was going to be like, but 3 years of university, 3 years of undergraduate, 3 years of my life have just closed. And, a new door's going to open with my masters, but I'm going to miss that. Going into a big hall of students in the lecture theatre, sitting with my course mates I always sit with, and they're all going to be in different places next year. So it's not necessarily like an awful thing because I'm going on to do my masters, but it's these people who are now going to be elsewhere and they're going to be harder to see. I can't just go for a coffee after a lecture or see them in a lecture. If I want to see certain people now, I'm going to have to travel, which is fine. Obviously, that's a bad thing, but they're no longer on my doorstep. And it makes you realize like all these things you say you want to do with your life, like, oh, let's go for a coffee with that person, let's go for food with that person. It's so easy to be able to say, let's do that, but one day you actually won't be able to as easily. So
Yeah.
it's about making the most of these people and these moments as much as you can and just embracing them. Because one day you're going to look back and realize those moments went and they passed and you're no longer able to do them. And I remember the day after, I was tearing up. I didn't fully cry, but I was tearing up just with some sad music on in the shower about the fact it was finished because it's like something you thought about for so long finishes. I'm sure you felt that with Australia, like 11 months of your life, and then all of a sudden it's done. You're back at home. And it was mad. And then I went for a coffee with my lecturer and I thanked him. Julius, big up Julius, he was my supervisor this year. He actually said I got a first on my, my dissertation, but the second marker was down, so they had to meet in the middle somewhere. But they've got curry and awards night on Wednesday for our seven-a-side team. So it's all these things that are kind of like coming towards an end now. Big up Tommy, it's his last year. Obviously, next year we'll be doing it, but he won't be there. So as life kind of goes on and you get older, these things we've always known. One day people have kids, they'll have families, they want to see each other. I remember when shout out Brad who came in the podcast, he was saying to me like it gets to a point where people no longer really even want to do a 40-minute trip anymore when they get older. And I just think, especially if you're listening to this right now and you are similar age to us and you've got these things in your life, don't take it for granted because one day they will finish. But brother, I guess being home, you were speaking a lot about coaching and what you wanted to do with that, and also the time you want to spend at home. I know that's changed a little bit, and you've been fluctuating a little bit with that. I guess also you don't need to be thinking so much about how long you're going to be at home, because then it just becomes too much of a thinking game. rather than just doing. But you have decided, have you, to maybe settle at home for a little bit longer before you go back out traveling, haven't you?
Well, I'd rather keep that one for me, bro. To be honest, I'll keep that between me and my friends and stuff. I don't know, because again, every day you wake up with a different idea of how long you want to be at home. Something annoys you, and you're like, I want to go next week. Like it's just, you know, you're always thinking. The main thing for me is making sure that when I do go out there, I'm set up to come home and be happy. You know, and also to think about long term. Like, what do I want from the long term? Because, you know, it's your 20s are for having fun, bro, but you got to start building yourself some stability for when you're, 30, 40, and you want to have kids and you want to start a family, all these things. So it's really important for me that I don't just waste the time. You know, if I'm going to go, then I want to make sure that I'm going for a reason. I want to make sure that, like, money wise, I'm good. I want to go out there with a decent amount of money to the point where I'm going to have fun, and I know that the next time I go out, it won't quite be the same as the first time, because I won't have that 3 or 4 month period of feeling how I felt and spending the money I did. You know, so maybe I will spend the same money, but at least I'll spend it a bit better and I'll have a lot of fun in the process. So just going to save, keep working, and then I'll decide whenever I want. I think as long as I hit a threshold of what I'd like to have saved, then at that point, I think it's hot potato. And at any moment, it could just happen, really, to be honest. So, yeah, it's tough, bro, coming home. I knew that it would be difficult. I knew that being out there would make me question many things, which is, it's dangerous, bro, I think, because you've always
What
had
sort of stuff?
Well, it makes you consider what you want to do for work. It opens your eyes to a society that works very differently and is very nice to live in. It just makes you question various things, and it is dangerous because you're always used to this one way of thinking. When I was like 18, 19, I knew what I wanted. I had nothing really to challenge that, and I'm just kind of sailing on this path. And then you go, oh, I'm going to go and experience something different, and it makes you think, well, what if I want to do this career path, or what if I want to live here now, or what if I want to try something different, or meet someone different, or all these different things. It just makes you have a much wider vision of the world. And sometimes I think when you have such a narrow vision of things and you only know a certain way of life, it becomes easy to live it in a lot of ways, because you're just sailing that one path. Whereas when you do open up your eyes and see more of the world, it creates a bit more instability, and it makes you realize the amount of opportunities that are actually out there. And sometimes that's just a little bit overwhelming. So I knew I'd feel this way when I got home. And I knew that it's a dangerous thought process, but it's also a brilliant thought process, because, bro, at the end of the day, I've had an amazing opportunity. And now it's just made me excited to want to go and do it again, to go and see my friends, to potentially live a life that I never possibly imagined I would be living at this age. So I think in a lot of ways, travel is very disruptive, but chaos isn't always bad, is it?
And when it comes to you going back out there and not really, whenever that is, it's like you don't need to know now either. It's like when I spoke to you about when I finished my masters, I may not be able to go straight into a doctorate. I've got some ideas of what I'll do in that year between, but I don't need to know now. And shout out Judy who listens to the podcast every week. She said the same to me. Like with these sort of things, it's like you don't need to have that decision made up. It's good to think long term. It's good to have an idea, but the decision doesn't need to be concrete. And I think it's good that we're aware of that. Um, but I guess obviously we spoke about this over the weekend. But what has felt, obviously you just said about how you got more foundations while you're at home, but what does feel, what's the biggest difference, would you say, like being at home, which you've noticed since being back?
Well, like I said to you, I don't quite feel as free, because I had my own space in Oz. So, when you live where you work and stuff, it's like you don't have that same freedom. And your world is pretty small. So, and I live in a town. I was even walking down the high road the other day, and I was like, this is such a small place. You know what I mean? Like you can walk from one end of it to the other. This little town of mine. That's it.
This little town.
This little town of mine. Um, but it just makes you think a little bit when you're so used to being in a big city and it's all a bit daunting and you've always got your headphones and you take your headphones off and now you're just in a small town again, seeing the same people that you see people doing the same morning routine that they've been doing since you were last here, and you're like, wow, this is really pretty crazy. Do I miss this? I don't know. So yeah, it's it's just tough, bro. It's kind of tough to describe the state of mind that I'm in because it is a good one. It's like so good to be home. It's so nice. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, what do you want now? Now you're home. What do you want? Like, this is because at the end of the day, bro, you can very easily just sit and work every single week and time will just fly by, bro. There was weeks in Australia where obviously I didn't really have many friends and stuff, and it was just working and the time was just passing by me. And it's like, okay, but what happens when you want something from the experience? What are you willing to do to get that? And that's what I'm asking myself. What am I willing to do to make this experience being home worth it? Fun, memorable, seeing family, playing football with my boys, playing football hopefully with my brother on Thursday if he ever picks up his phone. All these things, bro. It's so exciting, and it's even better to be able to think I can call my brother now, I can call my dad, I can call my mum, and it's a normal time. Or I could just walk out my bedroom door and just see my family or my friends. It's amazing. But at the same time, bro, I still think I'm in that really strange period of like adjusting and not quite being all there because like sometimes I sit down and I'm just completely spaced out. So it's tough, bro. But yesterday was a real good one and it made me feel very much like, yeah, I'm home now. So thank you to you. And I think as well, like as mates, not just me and you, but just anyone, I need to do stuff like that more. It's so important to just put the phone down for a bit and just chat. Go and chat, have a coffee. Look at that fucking, that jackdaw that was just sitting there. Just appreciate it for a minute. Like as mates, like just go and talk about all your problems, whatever it is, family, friends, girlfriends, whatever you want. Like just literally talk. Because, and it's like, I know we say men don't do it enough, but I just think in general, people just don't do it enough, bro. Like, I don't think they go and have those really nice, wholesome days out with their bros. Like, and I will say that now I'm home, I'm just so glad to do it. And I appreciate the beautiful countryside that we have in the UK a lot more than when I left. Because when I left, it was just home. Whereas now I'm back, it's like, wow. I've heard people that want to see this, and I get to see this. I'm lucky, bro. So, thank you for yesterday. That was amazing.
Right, man. Likewise, man. It was a really good time. I really enjoyed it, and it was great to be. It was funny just how quick that time flew by, and how 11 months ago you were talking about going to us. It was awesome, man. So I thank you too. Shout out Mick. He came on the podcast, and that came out last week, talking about making it as a football coach for the second time. And he was talking about criticism and how it's good to embrace criticism, and he loves it, and he loves embracing it and taking it in because that's how you grow. And I know sometimes you find when you're doing something, maybe it's a project like this, or like a social media page you run, or a YouTube channel you have, or a career you do, or just something you do which you've spent time on. When people criticize it, or in a constructive way, a positive way, doesn't have to be negative. You do put that guard up a little bit, and you're like, you kind of fight off it because it's like, oh well, I feel like the way I'm doing it's right. And obviously sometimes it might be because a lot of the time people who are saying it probably haven't done what, like a lot of people haven't done don't do a podcast, so they may not know the ins and outs of it. But if they listen to it, they're allowed to give feedback and stuff. So they may not always be in the best position to be able to give it as someone who maybe has done like a millions episodes of podcast. But every bit of criticism or feedback is a way to learn, is a way to grow. And I know sometimes I have to speak to myself and be like, look, like with anything, like it always, if someone says something about something which you could class as maybe like your baby or your project, like you've got to be careful with putting that guard up and actually like embrace that. And I thought that was really cool for Mick to talk about that because
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm coming from with that feeling when you're criticised? It feels personal. It feels like you have to put a guard up. And I guess, can you think of a time when that's kind of happened to you, or what's your relationship with being criticised?
Sorry. I think that I've faced it a lot. So especially on Twitter, with my
Yeah,
football stuff, it's been like, I mean, a lot of it pushes the boundaries of criticism and is just borderline attacks on my personality, which is a bit far. So if you attack me personally, bro, it's a big one of these. It's just like there's no need for that. But when it comes to criticizing work, well, of course you've got free reign to do what you want. Um, Obviously, we always take things personally in a lot of respects. I think we do it, bro. I think we love our work so much. We pride ourselves so much on it that when someone says something that you feel harms it, you automatically want to just jump through the screen and go, "What the hell are you talking about?" But sometimes there's people that are worth listening to. Sometimes there's people that aren't worth listening to. At the end of the day, that's down for you to decide. But it's really important that when people are giving you criticism, providing it is proper criticism, bro, and it's not just, again, those attacks on you, you got to just accept it. Accept it and also learn from it as well. Don't just take it and be like, okay, thank you. Okay, what does it actually mean? What did they give you something that you can build something off? Like if someone's criticizing a drill you did, well, are they saying, yeah, this is shit? Or are they going, this drill probably didn't work out quite as well as it could have because of X, Y, and Z? That's not an insult. That's just someone going, probably wasn't the best because you could do this, and then this will make you way better. That's a good thing. That's like a good person tells you that because they care about you. So embrace it for sure. Mick's absolutely right. I love Mick. Legend of the podcast as well, isn't he, really? One of our first Making It moments guests, wasn't he?
he was one of the first of this year, so there would have been a few before him. Maybe I think he maybe on 9th or 10th, I think.
Oh, he was earlier than
I
that.
also yeah, we've had 19 now. I counted today with one off 20.
Wow.
Making it moments. But I went for a big walk with Derek. I just realised I got to shout that out.
Mm.
Big up Derek. We went on about a 3 hour walk around Whitley Bay, went by the coast, and we actually ended up in the cafe which Anthony Gordon did his overlap episode in with Gary Neville, and it was awesome just spending time with him outside of football and talking about life stuff and things he's done in his life and what he wants to do and how his period of life is going to look now and just being present as well. And I noticed Derek's actually quite good about just talking about the present moment. He doesn't like talking about this too much. Not because he doesn't like it, but because he wants to think about the now and what's going to happen in the future. And he'll often speak about something that's going on in this moment as opposed to something from the past or future. And I really like that. And he spoke a lot about purists, and I thought that was really cool. I've never really heard it described like that before, but he defines a purist as someone who's really kind, caring, really wants the most for people. He said that sometimes as a purist, um, you can look at people who maybe aren't like that as much, and you can get angry. And I remember my dad saying to me last summer that you can't expect other people to behave like you all the time. And that was a great thing to hear because I think we can get angry with friends, we can get angry with family members, we can get angry with anyone when we feel like they've done something which, you would never think of doing. I'd never do that sort of thing. But then, they have, and that's okay. They're a different person. And maybe some people won't be as thoughtful at times, and that's okay. It's good to kind of maybe sometimes, unfortunately, we have to let go of people who maybe do it too often. But sometimes people just don't think and they do. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Purist, I thought it was a cool thing to think about. But I also think spending time with people is important. And you mentioned earlier about going for walks like we did and going for runs and doing things with your mates. And I think that spending time thing is important. I know we spoke on one of the recent episodes about turning up and just showing up. Just being around with your mates opens up a lot of doors as well. So ask yourself if you're listening right now, if you're a purist and what that means to you. And if you don't quite feel like you are, could you be a little bit more and, what's that relationship with yourself? But it was awesome to see you again. I know we freaked out a little bit. For a bit, I thought you were AI generated when you were sat in my car when we were driving. But wow, man, it was great to see you. And I don't want that to become like just normal again. Like it's special to have seen you again, bro. And I look forward to coming back in June and doing more of that sort of stuff, bro. It was really good, man. So I thank you too.
No, much love, bro. And I know that we're going to be separated again for a little while, so it's like another waiting game, but lots of stuff coming up to look forward to, bro. We got football. Obviously, the football season's over, but when Dan's back, we're going to get him playing football with me and Deck. I'm ready for that, bro. Be exciting to get you down there again. Lots of stuff coming up. Me and Dan have got projects coming up, in-person podcasts, better quality stuff. If you want to keep up to date with everything that we're doing, not just with the podcast, but also just in our personal life, Dan Ferguson _SP, Jamie Martin Media for me as well on Instagram. And then obviously follow the Making It podcast social medias as well, Making It Poddy, wherever you have your social media. And then for email, makingitpoddy@gmail.com. Drop us an email, drop us a DM, like, share, do all that jazz. We appreciate it. We're so grateful for all your support because recently it has been absolutely awesome. So keep it going. Keep following us. Rate it 5-star if you like the podcast. And we'll see you every Tuesday, 10 in the morning. Peace out.
Take it easy. Thanks for listening.